concern is a word. It's football. You should be concerned about all your opponents. But at the same time, I look at this Ravens team, and it's been like a silent buzz about them since training camp started.
Silent buzz.
Silent buzz.
Okay,
you know?
give me that.
All off season, it was Lamar Jackson. Every single day we talked about Lamar Jackson. He signed his contract, and then it was just all New York Jets. It was Aaron Rodgers, the Jets. Dalvin Cook just signed. It was everything about them, and we haven't talked much about Baltimore. And I think for the Cincinnati Bengals, if you're a fan, you're like, we're not scared of the Ravens. We played them every year. We were the winners of our division last year. But it's like that rival town that's just right next door. They just got a few kids that just moved in, and you heard about them from the other neighborhoods they've come from, and they're really good at football. They're going to be joining the local team, and you know you got to watch out for them. And that, to me, are the Baltimore Ravens. They've got a few receivers, and you look at the matchups last year. These teams played 3 times, and you look at the production from the wide receiver position on both sides right here. You can see the Bengals on the right, the Ravens on the left. It was not even close. The Ravens didn't have a receiver gain 100 yards in all 3 games combined. Demarcus Robinson, the only Ravens receiver to score a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 24 catches in the 3 matchups. Every Baltimore Ravens wide receiver totaled 16. Jamar Chase had more than all of them on that team. And I look at the Ravens this year, you add a guy like Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham Jr. You add a new offensive coordinator. You add a happy and a well-paid Lamar Jackson. You open the offense up a little bit. I think for the Cincinnati Bengals, you do start to look at this Ravens team a little bit different. No, they shouldn't be scared. They should just be worried and focus on their upcoming team and their upcoming matchup with this team. This is a division rival that I'm excited for and I'm here to see. Every time these 2 teams match up, it's a juggernaut, and I can't wait to see it.
I'm with you. I see that word concerned, and I don't think Joe Burrow gets concerned about anything in life. Yeah. I don't think Jamar Chase strikes me as a guy who's constantly concerned. Zach Taylor, for that matter. Look, the Ravens are going to be good. They're in your division. It's the NFL. There's good teams. And the fact is, for the last couple of years, the Bengals have had some good strokes of luck, I think. I think Lamar has missed 10 games the last 2 years. The Browns have been on Mars. And the Steelers had this really old quarterback and then this really young quarterback. It was pretty supple in that division in terms of the quarterbacks and who was out there. I look at it a lot like the Bills. They had the Dolphins and the Jets and the Patriots kind of building something. That's over. And you cashed it in and you won some T-shirts and you got to a Super Bowl, and that's great. But yeah, it's no surprise to the Bengals. The Ravens are going to be good. The Ravens are always one of those teams that matters. They have the coach and they have the quarterback. So, look, I think if you were just to do it from the hip, I think the Bengals have a better passing game. I think the Ravens have a better running game. I'm worried the Ravens have a better defense. The Bengals lost some key guys, and the Ravens added some guys. And so I always picture this game, whether it's now or 20 years ago or 30 years ago, it's like one of the hardest hitting games in the league. There's the familiarity breeds contempt. Is the Bengals defense going to be good enough with new safeties and what all the Baltimore's going to be bringing? We'll find out. These are going to be great games. When it's Thursday and you're looking forward to the weekend games, you're like, oh, Bengals, Ravens, yes. It's not a run over. It should. You predict them to split. They've had a nice run, the Bengals, last couple of years. Baltimore's going to be really good this year. It's a surprise to no one.
Yeah. I'll tell you the score now. The first game they play, I don't know who's going to win. It's going to be 23-20, and it's going to be decided in the last play.
Justin Tucker field goal, maybe.
Or the other way.
Yeah.
Or it's McLaughlin hits one through the whatever it is. That's how it's going to be. And I look at this matchup here, and now if you're saying if they're concerned, yeah, they should always be concerned because the Ravens always play the Bengals tough. Last year in that playoff game, you know, it's hindsight now, and the Bengals advanced and they get to the AFC Championship game. For most of that game, I felt like the Ravens were going to come out with it. And that was without Lamar Jackson. That was without Zay Flowers. That was without Odell Beckham. It was with Tyler Huntley. And Huntley was just making plays. And this was like one of those deals where you're like, are they really going to go into Cincinnati and win this game so undermanned? And yet they had this game. They had this game until it wasn't Joe Burrow and it wasn't Jamar Chase. And it wasn't T. Higgins who made the play of the season for the Bengals. Let's go to Mike Tirico on the call for the biggest play for the Bengals last year.
For all the marbles. Come out quick. Look right around Huntley. He reaches. Oh, that ball's out. That's live. Back the other way. Sam Hubbard. The Cincinnati Kid. Hubbard's got a convoy. Chased by Andrews. At the 30. The 20. He will score.
It gets lost in all the Super Bowl magic and what we saw in the divisional round. Like, that play might have been the play of the season, and it came, on the 1 yard line. If the Ravens score that, the Ravens are in control. So
you can't really make a bigger play than that in the sport.
You can't.
Unless you're David Tyree, you just can't.
Hubbard takes it the distance, and you're right. Like there's the Tyree catch,
James Harrison.
Holmes, James Harrison.
Yeah,
individual plays. You're talking 99 yards for
Swing.
Sam Hubbard. That's a swing. So I bring that play up because that was in Cincinnati, and it was without Lamar, and without Odell, and without Zay, and without all these guys. Like you better believe when these guys come in with their fully loaded team, they're gonna be taking notice.
The AFC North, you could use that sentence in that graphic and just kick the 3 other teams around. Should the Bengals be concerned with the loaded-up Browns? Should they be concerned with the loaded-up Steelers? All the teams got better, I think, in that division, and that's what's making the division a puzzle for us. I specifically look at the first 4 words of that question, should the Bengals be concerned? I take us all back 11 months ago when all of us, it was like the scene out of The Office with the fire drill. We were all losing our minds about the fact in the first 2 games for the Bengals, Joe Burrow had been taken down. Do you remember how many sacks it was?
Like 13?
13 times.
I remember they were 0-2, right?
They were 0-2. And I think everyone in the media group, in the media landscape, was at an absolute panic because this was not supposed to be. Joe Burrow had just figured things out the year before.
They rebuilt their
he was the
offensive
king of the
line.
Bengals, rebuilt offensive line.
New bodyguard.
All of a sudden it was like, can we get Andrew Whitworth back? Like, this was a ridiculous start to the season. My concern would not be with any of the other teams in the division. It's for the Bengals, considering Joe Burrow was injured a couple weeks ago with this calf. Is he going to be at 100%? Is he going to be out there? Is your line going to protect him to sustain him for 18 weeks straight? I would drop the second half of that question and just be, Bengals, you better be right by the time this season starts because your division does not have any wiggle room in it. Your conference does not have any wiggle room in it. And dare you not start the season the way you did last year.
I think there's a good silver lining here. They went and they got Brown, obviously. He's going to be there. And then Jonah Williams seems happy. Like, it seems like going in, they're in a lot better place than they were last year. But to your point, if Burrow is coming off this calf injury and gets knocked around,
it was
hell
such
with
a
the other
shock.
teams.
Yeah. You got to make sure everyone's ship is going the right way.
7 AFC playoff spots, guys.
7, Kyle.
Only
I don't want
7.
ties. I don't
Are they
want
automatic? You just put them in? Like, definitely? It's tough.